Hello, and you're going to have a little bit of artwork to do today. It's related to graffiti and street art. You're going to hopefully create your own graffiti tag. So we're just going to find out a little bit about graffiti and street art, including what a tag looks like, and then you can either have a go on a piece of paper and upload a photo of it, or you can just have a go on the 2Paint tool on Purple Mash that I will have set as a to-do for you. So, all about graffiti and street art. You see it a lot more nowadays. But what is it? It's artwork that has been created in a public place. It might not be a permanent piece. So there's some examples there. People you may have heard of Banksy, who is well known for his street art and graffiti and other bits of artwork that he does, and he is completely anonymous. Nobody knows who Banksy actually is, or whether it's a he or a she in that respect. Street art doesn't just have to be drawings or sprays on the wall, as you can see in these two. It could also be something like this, where we have lots of umbrellas hung up in between two sides of a street. So graffiti then, that's one type of street art, and it's often writing or pictures sprayed onto walls in public places. And when graffiti artists don't get permission to use a public space, their graffiti is actually illegal against the law. So you can have graffiti done by street artists and graffiti artists who actually have permission to do that, and so that is completely legal. But there are lots of bits of graffiti that are illegal around this country and in other countries too. Some towns and cities have legal graffiti sites where artists can showcase their work. So they have specific areas where graffiti artists can go and showcase their work, and then that obviously will get wiped away and somebody else can have a go. The history of graffiti then, thousands of years ago, as you'll know from doing the Stone Age in year 3, the first wall drawings appeared in caves. Now we can see some there. But modern graffiti started in the United States in the 1960s, so relatively recently, and by the late 1960s it had reached New York, and the new art form became very popular throughout the 1970s when artists began tagging buildings. Soon after, underground trains could be seen covered in spray paint, and they became a popular place for taggers to write. So you'll see it underground in train stations, on underground trains themselves. Obviously that was very popular in the 1970s. Tags were a way, though, of gangs marking their territory, and they worked in groups called crews. New York art galleries started buying graffiti art at the same time that the mayor of New York spoke out about how he was against it. And during the 1980s, many graffiti artists began using roofs or canvases for their art, and even today the debate over whether graffiti is vandalism or whether it's art is still being discussed. People do see it as vandalism. They're vandalising, they're defacing public property, but other people do see it as art. Another example of street art, as we saw in the picture before, were things like the umbrellas, and that's art installations. So they're organised art exhibitions, and they're not illegal. The image that you can see there is a couple of years back, and it's all of those metal poppies, and it's the public art installation Blood Swept Lands and Seas of Red, which commemorated the centenary of the outbreak of the First World War. So in 2018, in the Tower of London, all of these poppies, these metal poppies, were placed to commemorate the outbreak of the First World War and the blood that was shed. So 888,246 ceramic poppies were made, one to remember each British soldier killed in the war. Here are some more street art installations around the world. So it's not just all graffiti and spray paint. Stencil art then. Street art is stencil graffiti. A stencil is a bit of paper, metal or plastic which has a design, pattern or words cut out of it, and the artist rests it up against the surface and fills it in with paint before removing it. And then we come on to Banksy. And a lot of Banksy's work is done using stencils, as you can see in that picture there. Banksy is very famous, but nobody knows his true identity, as he keeps it a secret. So he's quite controversial with what he does. You can see there, security camera, and he's actually stenciled, "What are you looking at?" And the security camera is pointing at it. So it's often political or humorous, his art, and he uses it to express his own opinions. What do you think then he was trying to express in this piece? I think maybe he was trying to express his opinion, how he feels like we're being watched all the time, perhaps with all the security cameras that we have and the CCTV. And what exactly are they looking at or for? His work appears in public places, and that's caused controversy because he uses illegal graffiti sites to showcase his work. However, his art is admired around the world, but at the same time then, he is actually breaking the law. Do you think this art is vandalism, or do you think it's art? Very clever what he does, but illegal. And did you know that Banksy's art has sold for over £1 million before? Quite a sum of money. We have another street artist, famous man called Keith Haring, and he was well known for his bold and bright street art and sculptures, and his work has a cartoon-like style. So here's some examples there. And during the 1980s, he showcased his art in France, Australia and Germany, where he painted part of the Berlin Wall. Now, the Berlin Wall was built to separate East and West Germany, and the majority of the wall was knocked down in 1989, so that it was no longer a barrier between the two. But some sections of the wall still stand, and they can still be visited today. But it's not all there. There's some of his art. We have Maya Hayuk, and Maya Hayuk's work is known for its vibrant colours and bold geometric patterns. So she uses shape to showcase that work. And Kashink, a female street artist from Paris, celebrates diversity and self-expression through painting huge murals all over the world. And although a lot of them she paints are commissioned and completely legal, she still likes to take risks, and she does create some illegal artwork too. Most of the time though, they're commissioned, they're given permission to do her art. So we move on to the tag. Now, a tag is the most basic type of graffiti. It's the artist's signature, and it's usually written in spray paint or marker pen. So, in a moment then, you're going to have a look at creating your own tag using your nickname or your initials or just your normal name. And the most important thing is to make it unique and use colours that you like. Now it says here, why do you think graffiti artists do not sign their work with their full name? I think we can all guess that. I think because most of the time it's illegal. So if you put your full name there, then people are going to know who's done it. So, have a little look then at these tags, different styles, swirls and patterns, colours that have been used, nicknames perhaps, initials, and you're going to have a go at doing that on your purple mash activity using the 2 paint tool or using a bit of paper and some colours of your own. But have a little think, have a little go. You could even create your own street art in the style of Keith Haring perhaps, or of Kashink, or Maya Hayuk. Okay, but what I would like you to try to do is your own tag. So think about the tools that you can use on 2 paint, think about the colours, the patterns, the swirls. You could do your tag, but then also do some street art behind it as well, and have fun.